on? So I have a warm-up exercise for you in today's video. Right now, this is going to be based along this PDF I made. You can get it over at my website, playsongnotes.com, lesson 336. This is a one-pager, right? I have this riff, two variations of it, a sort of simple straight-ahead version and a slightly more advanced version where one of the notes is going to be pushed in the third and in the first measure. I also have little chord charts at the bottom here. So the idea behind this riff is we're going to have two different chord shapes. We're going to have an F sharp triad, and we're going to have an A with a flat fifth. And in both of them, we're going to have this weird dissonant note. You hear how there's a bit of tension with that little last chord I played there? It's going to also be heard in the F sharp if we remove our index finger on the second string. Put our index finger back, tension goes away. Take our index finger off, it returns. And by playing with that, as part of the sequence that I'm going to show you the tab for, it creates a nice little hook for your ear. And when you go between that F sharp and this A with the flat fifth, and you use the picking pattern I'm going to show you, nice little thing to work on that kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit, right? It's not a clean and friendly sound that just goes over easy. It kind of has a bit of weird tension to it because of those dissonant notes. So let's get into the lesson. It'll just take a few minutes. Again, you can get this PDF over at my website, playsongnotes.com. It's print friendly, and I have many other chord sheets as well for other warm-up exercises as well as other song lessons, as you know. So check that out, playsongnotes.com, and let's get into this lesson. And I'll show you this Starlight riff. Again, this is from Logan Ledger's song Starlight from his 2020 album. I cannot recommend it enough. So let's do it. All right, so let's start with the two chords that this riff is going to use. The first of these is an F sharp chord. It's only using these three strings though, right? Fourth string, third string, second string. Right? On the fourth fret, third fret, second fret of those strings. No bar chords, no funny business going on. Now, with this chord, we're going to have to take our index finger off in the riff. So just get comfortable doing that, playing the three strings, taking your index finger off, play the same three strings, and then put your index finger back. That's what it would sound like if we just sort of plucked every string individually. The second chord is going to look like this. It's going to be an A with a flat fifth, as I'm calling it. So the idea here is to play the thinnest three strings. We're going to be on the second fret, the fourth fret, and then open high E string. Right? So again, index finger on the second fret of the third string, pinky up here, fourth fret of the second string. And then what you want to do is sort of get comfortable going between these two chords. Notice how your index finger is staying on the second fret for both. It's going between the third string here and the second string here, right? I'm talking about this finger. And notice that your pinky and your ring finger have ownership over this fourth fret right here. So those are the chords we're going to need, okay? They're going to come into more resolve and make more sense once we get into the riff itself. So let's look at the riff. I'm going to show you two different versions. This first version is going to be very much sort of on the eighth notes and kind of keeping constant to the rhythm. It's a bit easier to get started with. And the second one, it gets a bit trickier with the rhythm where we're going to push some of the notes an eighth note early for some distinction. But I recommend starting with this first version. So the idea here, let's look at these first two measures. We're going to be on the F sharp for this one, right? So basically what I'm doing there, I'm playing with my thumb and my sort of fingers in the right hand. You could use a pick if you want. I find a pick actually a bit trickier. Because you have to skip often from the second string to the fourth string. When you have to jump over a string like that, right? We're jumping over this third string. I find that tricky to do because it just requires a lot of dexterity with the pick to jump one string, but don't jump two strings, right? The benefit of playing with your fingers here is that your fingers always stay on the string, so it's nice and... It's just, I don't know, it's less movement there. But the idea is we're going to go from fourth to third to second string, go back to the fourth string, take our index finger off here and go from second to third to fourth to third, right? second measure, we're going to go from second string to fourth string. Do a little bit of dancing there. Okay, and that second string, when you go from 2 to 0, all we're doing is taking our index finger off, right? So that's the only left-hand finger movement here in this first two measures, is our index finger coming on and off that second fret. One more time. Okay, it sounds a little bit dissonant, right? A little bit weird to the ear, but it's okay. Go with it, right? The second half of this is the third and fourth measure. We're going to be in this A with the flat fifth. And we're going to sort of use the same picking sequence with our right hand, but we're just going to be on the thinnest 3 strings. Whoops. Right? Third to second to first string. Back to third to first. Second, third, second. Right? Talking about the string numbers. Back to the first one and repeat that. So if I did the first, this first variation in full from beginning to end, I'll play it twice or so. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Final thing I'll say before I go to the second version is notice how I have the thinnest string for each of these, for all measures, is highlighted with the little blue here. I like to think of those notes a bit as the sort of main melody notes. You're kind of giving them maybe a little bit of accent, right? I'll play it again, and I'm going to sort of try to give those notes a bit of extra volume. And this is going to come in sort of relevant and come in handy when we go to the second variation, when these notes are going to come in, we're going to change them a little bit. So here's what it sounds like. Variation 1, I'm going to play those thinnest blue highlighted notes, thinnest strings, with a little bit more accent. You'll kind of listen out for those. Train your ear. Fixate your ear on those notes. Okay, now the second version, super similar, but what is different is that at the beginning of the second and the beginning of the fourth measure, there is these notes that we're actually going to move into the preceding measure. So this first note that I'm talking about is on the very last eighth note of the first measure, right? That and count just after the 4, just before that 1. That highlighted note in the first variation of what I taught you, that was going to be played on the 1 count. But here, it's going to be coming an eighth note early. What this does is it catches your ear off guard because your ear kind of expects it to come on the 1 count. And when it comes early, it's sort of like, oh, okay, what you got? You're sort of looking at that note. It pulls your ear for a second. So here's what the second variation sounds like. Play the first version, and I'll play the second one afterwards, and you can hear the difference, right? Okay, here's the second version. So hopefully you heard the difference there. And in reality, you can mix and match these. If you listen to the song itself, it sounds like he is freely going between these two variations as he plays the song, right? So it's something you can kind of improvise a bit. But otherwise, this is the sort of sequence. Now, you could play this at 90 beats per minute if you want a slower version, right? It would be approximately like this. Set your timer for 90. Right? But if you were to set your metronome for 130. That matches what you hear in the Logan Ledger album version. It's a bit zippier and faster, so work your way up to it. Okay, so that's going to be this exercise for today. I hope this is helpful for you. Again, listen to this song, right? Starlight by Logan Ledger. Really cool song. Lots of different guitar grooves in it. Nice sort of background. I don't want to say it's background music, but it has a nice vibe where it just kind of hangs in the background. It's great to have on. The whole album is something I very much enjoy. And this is a riff you hear in the beginning of it. So I've been finding this is one I just pick up my guitar enjoyed noodling on, and in case it's helpful to you, I wanted to pass it along. It's not often I do a riff that's an F sharp, so I thought the dissonant qualities of these chords is pretty interesting. I wanted to share this with you. So once again, as always, get this PDF at my website, playsongnotes.com, lesson 336. It'll give you the tab for both versions, and it's a great one to warm up with or just get going with if you want something to play without thinking. So I'm going to take off now, my friends. I'll see you all around, and until next time, bye-bye.